Hello. How is everyone? It's Monday, and this week we're going to go on the theme of suffering or beyond suffering. And we're going to look at different ways in which we suffer and just bringing them into light in the way we suffer and alleviate some of that suffering. But before we start on that, I want to say hello to a few people. Hi, Cheryl. Good morning to you. Good afternoon, Rod. Glad you're feeling a little bit better. Rod's had COVID for the past couple of weeks, him and his family. Hope you don't mind me saying that. Good evening, Annette. Good morning, Laura. Good morning, Karen. Good afternoon, Zoe. How are you doing? How's little Noah? What's the weather like where I am? It's on and off raining. It's quite warm though. It's like it's too cold to have the windows open at night, but it's too warm not to. Just like that in between. So I've got a really thin quilt, but the window's closed. Good morning, Katja. Good morning, Laurie. So welcome everybody. Like I said, this week we're talking about beyond suffering. I'm going to bring into your awareness some of the ways in which you suffer. And Wednesday, I'm not live. Now then, what I promised a couple of weeks ago that every Sunday I would pin on my page what days I'm live and the subject of the week. I did that again yesterday. So go me. 2 weeks in a row, I stuck at it. I'm a terrible person for not sticking at some things. So it's one of my things I work on. So yeah, beyond suffering is the theme this week. And I'm live today, tomorrow, and Thursday and Friday, but not Wednesday. Normally I'll be live every day of the week if I can, but sometimes meetings fall about lunchtime or just after lunch, and that's the way it is. Hi, Michelle, watching on YouTube. Thank you for joining me and joining us. And talking about suffering, I want to talk about a suffering that I think a lot of you will relate to here. And that's the suffering from empathy. You know, having compassion for others. And, you know, when we're born, we don't have friends. We don't have enemies. Oh, someone's at my front door. One sec. You got the door, Tash. Oh, my new mouse mat. One sec. I'm going to get it on air if that's what it is. You're witnessing a first live unboxing. Is it? Can you open it? I am live at the moment, so be careful what you say. It's a huge box for a mouse mat. Amazon. See the size of this box for this mouse mat? I'll hold it behind me. Yeah. Okay, can you get it out? I can get rid of this one then. My mouse mats have had it. I normally buy a big one and cut them down. But this time I got a slightly more expensive one. Is it complicated? We'll go back to empathy in a moment. This is more exciting than that. Is it? It's not. Oh, it's fine. Okay, bit big. But it can be cut, couldn't it? Too big. Look, it's a cool colour though. Have a look. Underneath is a cool colour. Right, okay.
It's just nearly twice the size of what you need. Not
I
quite.
might be able to do 2 of them actually. I'm just not doing the full size of my tray. Okay, I'm going to carry on with the meditation. No, I am going to keep it. Yes, right, back. That's my excitement for the day. It's a cool mouse mat. It's like, and cool color as well. Until my food's all over it. Yeah, empathy. That's what I said. When we're born, we don't really have a lot of empathy or caring. And as we grow up and as we go through pain ourselves, I remember my daughter watching movies, and me and her mum would watch them with her, and she wouldn't bat an eyelid at the dog dying or somebody being homeless or anything like that. Didn't bother. Age of 5, and then suddenly at the age of 9 years old, she come in bawling her eyes out, like, that really, really crying. It was like, what's wrong? What's happened? And she goes, well, the dog died at the end. It's like, oh, so suddenly she developed feelings for other animals or other people, that second person empathy. And so we were feeling when someone else suffers and the animal suffers. And of course, it made her suffer. Now, we can only develop that when we start to suffer ourselves. So when we lose something, and by that time she had, so when we lose something, we develop the feeling of suffering. We feel hurt and we feel lost and we feel grief. And then we recognize that grief in others, and that's empathy, and that's compassion for others. But then, unless we deal with that empathy in a reasonable way, we end up suffering because of it as well. So we have too much empathy. We end up taking on other people's pain. Now, let me know in the box if you do this. Say yes if you do this. And then a friend comes over. We have a nice conversation. And then they blurt out their troubles or whatever they're going through at the time. And because they're a good friend, because we're close to them and all that, we feel what they're going through. And it really hurts. We really feel their pain. And then later in the evening, we're still feeling it. We're still suffering. It's taking us down. It's wearing us out too. And that's empathy. It's a way of, it's because we really care. Open our hearts to their suffering. But that's creating more of our suffering. And they wouldn't want that either. No amount of us suffering is going to improve their lives. So healthy empathy is feeling their suffering, feeling when they're telling us a story, when they're going through it with us, we feel exactly what they're going through. But we recognize that we're feeling their pain and we're not feeling our pain. So we don't hold it and take it with us. So I just wanted to bring that one part of the suffering into your awareness, that it's not yours to carry. But we very often do suffer from having too much empathy. And that's not to go the opposite way, to switch off. Yes, I care how you're feeling, but it's not mine. I don't care. When you walk away, it's like, that's a different thing. That's not real, true empathy. That's just seeing a perspective. That's not really caring. So has anybody else joined us? Deb Wells has joined us. Hi to you. And if you're here watching, join in. Say hi in the comments. I don't see you otherwise. Hi, Vicky. Great to see you here. There's a few yeses, so yeah. It can be such a burden. Yeah, it really can drag us down. And it's right that we open our hearts. It's right that we feel their pain and their suffering. But we don't have to carry the suffering with us. Sometimes we get attached to this suffering. And sometimes we have to use the metaphor that, sometimes we feel like we need to bleed constantly. There's sometimes that we cannot be happy in a world that has suffering. But how can I be happy and enjoy this movie when there's people in the world that are suffering right now or starving? And I get that. And it does give us an element of guilt, but it's a false guilt. It's not real. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve any of us. So it's that recognize it's there. Can we do anything about it in that moment? If we cannot do anything about it in that moment, then don't carry it. Because you suffering does not improve their lives. If anything, it just brings them down. I think it's Wayne Dyer opened one of his books with, he was trying to find a way in which he could open, he was having writer's block. I was trying to think of the words. I had word block. And he was trying to think of how to open this particular chapter. And his daughter phoned up, was having a real bad day. Everything was going wrong. And he listened to her and all that, and then he laughed and joked and put down the phone. And it gave him an idea of writing that chapter. I think it was in The Power of Intentions, the book. And he said, no amount of me becoming miserable with her, no amount, I could not have brought her mood up by bringing my mood down. I can listen to her, I can repeat back, I can feel what she's going through. And I don't have to be flippant and just brush it off. But if I become down and fed up myself, I'm not helping anyone. And certainly of all, not helping myself, because I'm then suffering needlessly. And nearly all suffering's needlessly, but it's realizing that. Patsy on Periscope, good morning to you. I'm feeling less pain from everyone, everywhere today. Good. Establish boundaries with empaths is a must. Took me years to develop. Yeah. It's not easy because, you know, it's keeping that heart open. And that's the important part, is keeping the heart open to their suffering and feeling their suffering, but don't carry their suffering. That's the magic ingredient, I think, is not to carry their suffering. But to recognize it's there. When we share our stories, when we're sharing our troubled times, we're not asking that other person to take on the burden. It's like if someone's sharing about that they're in trouble financially, they're not asking the other person to take on the debt. They just want someone to hear them and understand them and perhaps sometimes even come to help them to come to the solution. Because by talking it out, by sharing, we almost come to our own answers to it. Listening here is a beautiful thing. Absolutely. Annette says, I just don't like it when people pretend to care. Yeah. Laptop ran out of battery. I'm back. You missed all the good part, Rob. Rod. It's not that we don't care, but it's learning to protect ourselves. Yes. I do believe everybody essentially cares, but it's learning to have that, what's called a soft heart, the open heart, but not take it on and not close it up and not run away from it. And sometimes we're not in the place to be able to feel it. Sometimes we have a hard time, and sometimes the person that we're offloading to isn't ready for it. So we have to have empathy for that too, or compassion for that too, and acknowledge them. Yes. That's important, is acknowledge the person that's sharing their experiences with you. You know, not in the right direction. I'll just tell you this story before we go on to a meditation. I done 3 years ago, I done a 4-month introduction to counseling course. And they talk about person-centered counseling, where you sit down there and you listen to the other person. And they teach you how to respond. And I'm not knocking the process. I really not, because I haven't gone down the process enough to have any kind of expert to be able to judge it in any way. But I just found it a little odd from my perspective in the regards to, they say, well, you sit down there and you listen to them, and then you track them. So you're keeping up with them with their story. And every now and again, you'll repeat back in a paraphrase what they're saying. And I'm like, so are you genuinely listening, or are you listening to paraphrase? Are you been a robot? And I said to the teachers, what kind of practice do you have that you learn to listen, that you meditate and you have mindful training and all that? And if I'm right, I think they said they didn't, which I don't have a problem with it. It just surprised me. But with all that said, like I say, I'm not qualified to be able to judge it either way. It just seemed too mechanical. And that's what I'm saying is, don't be mechanical with it. For counselors and professional, that's where it may have to be. I don't know. But if you're genuine, hello, Cat, Mitzi. If you're genuine, don't just track them and repeat back and give them clarification. Be genuinely there with them. You know, when they're telling you the story, get your story out of your head, get your pre-loaded answer out, and just listen. And don't reply when they've finished. Wait a few seconds. It's their story, not ours. And if they come to their own conclusion, it's almost always better if they can get to the end of their story rather than we finish their story. Sherry says, a blessed new week ahead, Stephen. Thank you. Hi, Dave. Yeah, Dave, we're getting together, aren't we, soon? I can't remember when, though. Deb Wells says, empathetic people seem to help others above and beyond their own struggles. Yes. But they have to look after themselves, is what I'm saying. Well, you know, suffering, feeling the pain, that's going to happen. Suffering is the optional one. Nobody wants anybody to suffer. And if we turned up to a friend's house and we blurted out all our troubles every time, and they were suffering because of it, A, we wouldn't be a good friend, and B, that's not what we'd want. That's where we need to balance, to learn not to people please too much. Absolutely. Your own well-being is important too. Absolutely. This week, is it this week? When are you and Dave date, please? Let me, after the meditation, I'll look at my calendar and see if we can do Thursday. That might be an idea. But I'm going to take a drink. Put your earbuds in. Get ready. We're going to sit and do nothing for 10 minutes. How's that sound to the ego? Every morning I wake up. I sit up in bed. Connect with a couple of my Sangha. No, not every morning. That's BS. When I managed to get there. Probably about 3 mornings a week. 6 o'clock. And just 45 minutes meditation. It's the last thing the ego wants to do in the morning. The last thing. The coffee's almost cold, so I'm going to drink it all before we start. No pressure then, Dave. I'm going to look at my calendar now. Pardon me. Oh, I can't do Thursday. I got some minor surgery on a mole. Can we do next Thursday, Dave? That would be best for me. Are you launching a podcast? Okay. Do you want to coincide it with that so we can give you some promotion? Good to hear as well. Well, message me after. Let's work out the dates. Let's get some publicity for your podcast then. All right, let's do a meditation. All right. Hopefully you can hear me. So we make ourselves comfortable, have our back up straight and tuck our chin in a little. And remember, meditation is about being alert but relaxed. And we bring our attention to our breath. I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out. Hello. I don't know if you can hear my cat in the background. Breathing in, breathing out. If you bring your awareness to your facial muscles, starting from your forehead and down the back of your eyes and your cheeks and your mouth, just relax them as they go. Just allow the muscles to become a little heavier. Moving through your neck and down your shoulders and your arms to your hands. And each in-breath we breathe in calmness. And each out-breath, relax. Calm and relax. And we carry on the wave down through our bodies, to our chest, down to our belly, down to our bums. And our thighs to our knees, and our calves and our feet. And carry on the relaxing right into the floor, right into the ground. And now the whole body feels a little heavier, a little more relaxed. Breathing in calm, breathing out relax. And imagine a pillar of light going out the top of your head, extending up as far as you can see. out through the roof, out through the sky, through into orbit and out through the universe. And then it comes back down again just beside the other pillar of light, into the top of your head, down the back of your body. As it lights up your whole body with this really bright white light. As you breathe in, the energy comes in through the pillar. And it fills your whole body. This light contains a multitude of beautiful colored healing energies, and lovely blessings and whispered messages of love from above. And they're all for you in this never-ending stream of pure warmth. And every time you breathe in, this light just expands throughout your body. Really bright right where your heart is. And although it's fading to the fingertips and the toes, every time you breathe in, that bright light expands just a little bit. And you can feel it going through every molecule of your body. Every muscle, every part. There's nowhere where this light cannot go. And as this light continues to fill you up, become warmer and safer and more blessed, and you feel more complete with love. If you find your mind wandering, just bring it back to your breath and then breathe in this white light again. And this pillar of light above you that is going in both directions. This light of love and security and safety and blessings is eternal. It will never run out, no matter how much you need from it. Breathing in calmness, breathing out relax. As I'm sitting in this pool of pure white light, full of the joys and the bliss, the love and all that we need. And as we have plenty of it, we allow the light to go into the floor, into the ground, and start lighting up all the things around us. All the people we love, the people that are suffering, all the people that need a little love today, need a little light in their lives today. Imagine them all receiving this light. As we come back to our breath, we'll go through the metta affirmations, loving kindness. And as I say these, repeat them in your mind and then feel them deeply in your heart. And feel what it's like to have them completely whole. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be free from suffering. May I be loved. It's almost time to bring this little meditation to a close. But first, take a moment to thank yourself for giving yourself this little gift in this moment, for giving you this wonderful little time out. And bring your awareness back to your physical surroundings. Open your eyes when you're ready and look around at the objects around you. How was that? And thank you for the likes. I like my little graphic that comes up here. Look. Somebody give it a like or a love and you'll see a graphic come up here. And you'll see a follow if someone follows as well. So that's cool. Next Thursday it is. Let me put it on my calendar right now so I know, Dave. Three PM. PM, Dave. No, just once will do. Wait. Back with you. Thank you, Laurie, and thank you, Rod. Really enjoyed this. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Stu. Yeah, if you're here, follow. Every day I'm here. Well, most days, weekdays, apart from this Wednesday. Please tell everyone hello from me. I will do. Michelle says hello from YouTube. She's been one of the good students and going over to YouTube and watching it from there. I'm trying to encourage to move over to YouTube because we have a lot more control over there. It's much easier. My YouTube. Ah, Rod's friend. Now I know. Thank you guys. And I will be back tomorrow. And this week, like I say, we're talking about beyond suffering. And it's really, I cannot tell you how to reduce your suffering because I don't know what it is. But if I bring your awareness to different ways in which you suffer, then just bringing it into that awareness, you can go, I'm suffering. That's where I'm suffering. It just makes it a whole lot easier because we can't do anything unless we bring it into awareness. And like I was saying about empathy, if we have too much empathy, if we open our hearts and just allow everybody to just offload everything in it, and then we think we have to hold it all. That's the main thing. It's having to hold every part of it. It's not what we need to do. It's not yours to hold. It's yours to just enable them to have their voice, enable them to be able to hold it better themselves. That's the way it is. Each of our own suffering is ours to hold and ours to do something with. I hope that makes sense. So I'll be back tomorrow and I'll talk about tomorrow the main suffering, the suffering that we all recognize. And that's the ill suffering. The suffering when we're poorly. So take care. I will see you tomorrow, 2 p.m. UK time on Tuesday. Love you guys. Thank you for spending this time with me. And check out my podcast. There's the link. Take care, guys. And bye.